go. I'm gonna pull in. There we go. Hey y'all! It's Tonja. We're back. I'm back. I'm so used. I say we like there's several. Well, there might be several of me. I don't know. My husband says there is. But I'm back here in the interview room with SGN Scoops with Mr. Caleb King. How are you?
I am doing absolutely wonderful. So excited to be here. It's my first time.
I was going to ask you if it was your first time here.
Being here at Creekside.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
I am from just over the other side of the mountain in Bryson City, North Carolina.
You're a North Carolina boy.
Yes, ma'am. I am.
I'm a North Carolina girl.
Absolutely.
Woo!
Love it.
I mean, of course, we're not from the mountains. We're closer to my mom and dad's house is about 90 miles in from the Outer Banks. So I grew up on the eastern part of North Carolina, but North Carolina still.
Exactly. We have like every geographical thing
We
in
do.
our state.
We do.
We've got the coast, we've got the plains, and then we've got the mountains.
Yep. And the oh, you said
yes.
coast. Never mind.
I actually got to go down a couple weeks ago to the coast.
Which
and
part?
I went to Swansboro,
Yeah. Oh, you down there, close to our neck of the woods.
I got to go flounder gigging for the first time.
Shut it.
That was so awesome.
Is that where you spear them?
Yes.
And that's
spear.
Did I just say spear? Spear.
That is my type of fishing too, because so my brother, I have a brother. He doesn't sing with us, but he actually just got to be in the big Bass Pro tournament, like one of the biggest ones. He sent Mom a message and said they didn't do very good in it, but he's always been the fisherman, and I'm the type of fisherman that, you know how like when you've got the current, and I can't tell if it's a current or a fish biting.
It's a fish.
So when it's just a current, I'm trying to set the hook on nothing, and then when it's a fish biting, I'm just letting him have just like the fishes at the Golden Corral, all you can eat buffet, just sitting there. And when I reel it back in, my bait's gone.
Yeah.
So with flounder gigging and you get to spear them, you can see it.
Yeah.
So that's my type of fishing.
My dad loves to fish.
It's absolutely.
He used to be the whole, and I know this has nothing to do with music. We'll get to that in a minute. But first things first, he used to be, like, he had, if I remember this correctly, he used to be a big bass fisherman. Like, he was a part of a club. I think he had a bass patch or something, and a jacket, and all this kind of stuff. So he was a big bass fisherman. I don't know.
Awesome.
Did you ever make any money doing it?
No, I got too old.
Oh, isn't that ridiculous? So, okay, tell everybody watching, and then who eventually is going to watch, a little bit about the ministry.
So, officially, the ministry started back in 2014 when I started doing some solo stuff. Actually, when we did the CD release party at my church, I didn't have my background vocals yet on my tracks, so I let Mom and Dad sing with me because we've sung as a family for many years, just not traveling and doing it full time. So after that night, I decided, might as well, if they can join, come along and sing with me. So in 2014 is when we officially started, but I have been singing in churches and in my home church, Cold Springs Baptist Church, in the Great Smoky Mountains of North Carolina, since I was 3 years old.
Oh.
Dad was the pastor there for 23 years. That's the church we still go to.
Wow.
We're on the road. We actually, for pastor appreciation, we wasn't booked, so we set up and surprised our pastor now.
Oh, nice.
This past Sunday, because it has been 4 weeks since
y'all were there.
Yeah, actually since I spent over 24 hours at home.
Oh, wow.
Because we travel, I preach and my dad also preaches now. On March 1st, 2016, I surrendered my call to preach, so we actually do a lot of revivals as well. And Dad and myself will alternate nights preaching.
Y'all are the
and
package.
also sing.
Get your preaching and your singing.
That's it.
Right here.
And you know, it don't matter what denomination either. I was raised Southern Baptist, but one thing Dad always taught us was that as long as they're not trying to say there's more than one way to heaven, then all that other stuff is just wasting your breath on, you know. And I love it. And I actually here lately we've been in more Pentecostal churches, and that's I kind of like that. It gets on. I'm just saying I like lively churches.
There's a lot of freedom there.
There is.
My dad was, when we were watching some of the showcase out here this afternoon, and watching some of the people and the freeness of it, and he actually leaned over and said, "I love this. That people,
Absolutely.
I love watching people that feel free to worship."
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's the key. You know, in Psalms 100 it says, "Enter into His gates with thanksgiving and into His courts with praise." And like when you latch onto that and you realize that that's the key to the Holy Spirit coming down and visiting, and you're not afraid. Don't worry about what the person on your right side thinks or the person on your left side. You just go into that throne room and you just praise the Lord, and it's like it starts like a wildfire. That little ember, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, the person next to you is shouting, and I love it. And I'm glad that we were in an old church. It was actually an old Methodist church in Shelbyville, Tennessee, and the pews were probably 150 years old. And I'm just glad they built things to last back then, because I wound up in a pew. It just, and after that night when they told me I was in a pew, I was like, well, I'm glad they built things a whole lot better back then than what they do nowadays. You know, back then they built things to last. Like if your name was attached to it, they wanted it to last. And nowadays it seems like they want to build stuff till the warranty runs out.
Yeah.
And then it's
or
too
complicated.
Yeah. Then it's too complicated to fix, so you just got to go buy a new one.
Another one. Well, are you? I mean, I know you're singing sometime. When are you singing?
We sing tonight.
Oh, good.
5:50.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, good. We
I'm
look
so
forward
excited.
to hearing you. I know it's fun, isn't it?
I love stuff like this.
We have such a good time here at Creekside. I mean, it's just, and this is even the beginning. I mean, half the people still aren't here.
I know.
They'll come in. They'll come flying in tomorrow, and it'll be crazy around here.
And I'm so excited. I tell everybody, I'd much rather sing at stuff like this than off by myself somewhere.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about gospel music is the fellowship.
Oh yeah.
And we've got so many good friends that are here. Phillips and Banks.
Oh, I love them.
Seen Danny Overholt and his wife, Ray Wolford.
Yeah.
There's so many great friends that, you know.
And you're going to make a lot more before you leave.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
You just made one today, right here.
I know, this was our first time that we got to meet. And I was like, I heard you, was it Master's Voice who was in here right before me?
Yes.
And like, I was outside and I was like, man, this is going to be a fun interview.
We had fun. They all needed riddling. But I need it too. I'm just going to be honest. I need it too.
Well,
so,
I might need some as well. But
life is just so heavy. You need to laugh.
Oh, yeah.
You need to have fun. I mean, there's moments when you need to be serious and you need to be, proper.
Absolutely.
Well, proper's not the word, but you know what I'm trying to say.
I know what you're trying to say.
But then you just gotta have fun.
And that's kind of how I am. I absolutely love to goof off. I mean,
yeah. Do you think that Jesus walked the earth the years he was alive and never laughed?
And never laughed? No, that's hard to believe.
I mean, hello. So.
I mean, if he created somebody like me.
And me.
That's just.
He's got a sense of humor, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Especially me. I bet sometimes he just goes, "Oh dear goodness, Tonja."
I mean, I imagine when I'm trying to set the hook on an invisible fish, he's up there like, boy, you don't know what you're doing.
He's probably going, "That's my boy."
Yeah.
Let me send him a fish.
He'd have to.
Well, then he's going to send it, and you're going to ignore it because you think it's just the water.
Yeah, and it's just going to sit there. I'm just going to pull it in. And...
Oh my goodness! So tell these folks where they can. Well, okay. First of all, you got music out, right? Tell us what you got going on.
We do. So our current release right now, it's been a while ago. It went out on a Chapel Valley compilation
Love Chapel
disc.
Valley.
Yeah. We do too. They did such an awesome job. It's an old Henson song called "Trip to the Altar."
Ooh.
Love the Hensons.
Mm-hmm.
there's just nobody like them. So Trip to the Altar is our current one, and there's a couple of other like internet radio stations that play a few of our other songs on my solo project. One is called Choice, another one's called Victory. Was one at Calvary, the old hymn.
Oh wow!
Love that old hymn. And then Don't That Sound Like Heaven, and Not My Will, that my sister sings. And unfortunately, she can't be here with us this week. But yeah, Chapel Valley and my solo project. A good friend of mine, Dustin Jenkins, did that. That was the one I did back in 2014. Nice. So I get so distracted when I try to talk about the important stuff.
Oh, that's my.
It's
that's
a North
my
Carolina
whole,
thing.
That's my whole
See,
life.
we can talk all day about hunting and fishing, but then when it comes to important stuff, our mind goes blank, and then we're just like, I don't really know.
Well, let me ask you this: are things picking back up after the whole 2020?
They are absolutely
as
picking
far as
back
booking
up.
and getting out and sharing your ministry and
Yes,
stuff.
and thank God for that.
Yeah.
And thank the Lord that people are finally starting to come back to the events.
Oh yeah.
We did a few of the live concerts, the Facebook live concerts during the pandemic, and that was fun. But you can't replace being there.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than actually getting to see the faces of the people you're singing and ministering to.
Yeah.
And not just having to try and read comments,
Yeah.
but to actually see the tears start flowing, see somebody that's broken start to be put back together. You can't replace that. So yeah, it's absolutely picking back up.
Good,
like I said, I was telling my buddy Greg Sullivan out there
I love Greg.
Last Monday was the first time that I got to spend over 24 hours in my own home in 4 weeks.
Wow.
I would come home, sleep in my own bed for the night, and then get up the next morning and then go off to the next event.
A year ago, you couldn't have gotten out of your house.
No.
Wow.
And
well, I'm glad
it's
things
just
are
such
picking
a
up.
blessing.
And people are ready.
Oh yeah.
They're past ready.
Oh yeah.
You know,
And that's why we were so excited to get to be here. Because I've come over a few years because we're just on the other side of the mountain. So I've drove over and attended some of the concerts through the years. But to actually get to be a part of it this year.
Yeah.
I was so excited.
I've been excited about it too. I was really afraid it was going to get postponed again, but I'm so thankful that it didn't. So, well, I'm looking forward to hearing you tonight.
Thank you.
And where can folks find you? And did I ask you that already?
You're fixing to.
Okay, good.
We got off on the radio.
See, riddling.
So right now we don't have a website just yet. We're working on that, but we do have a Facebook page.
Everybody uses Facebook anyway.
I know.
I mean, it's just easier.
You can look up the King Family Facebook page, and you'll see this old ugly mug on there. And then I also have a separate solo page as well. Look up Caleb King Ministries, and you can go on there. And just like you did when you sent me the messages, if you would like to get some of our music, you can send me a message on there. Yeah. And we'll be happy to.
Or if they'd like to book you guys.
Send a message on there. Yeah. Absolutely. Any one of those. King
if you
Family
want Caleb to come to your church and talk to you about how to bass fish.
That's it.
He's your guy.
And I know how to set the hook, but it's with nothing on there. And that's the key.
Hey.
You just got to jerk really hard.
You got to start somewhere.
And but you have to be careful when there's nothing on there because then you tend to.
Because then you put your partner's eye out.
Yeah.
With the hook. So yeah, for more tips on fishing, contact Caleb.
On what not to do.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I can't wait to hear you sing tonight.
Thank you so much.
All right. We'll be back, guys. See you later. Awesome.